Okay, folks, good evening, early evening, late afternoon, early evening, more of a early evening. 7 p.m. here. And we finished up the T-34s this morning. So we're going to move on to the next thing, which I think means put away some of these damn brushes. So we're going to take these brushes and we're going to put them away. We can clear up some space. I'm always encroaching on my own work area, it seems like. And then we will talk about what we have planned to do this evening. Got a couple different things, and because there's drying time involved, I'm going to have to hop around. I'm not really a fan of hopping around, but I've just kind of accepted that that's just the way it's going to have to be, or I'm going to be sitting around waiting for another stage and something. Embrace the hopping around. All this color paint. We got a couple different things that we want to tackle today. Extra Renegade Runaway Penny. And I'm sure in a moment we're going to have all this stuff right back out in my way, but at least I put it away to take it out. Okay. So a couple things that we have to do. There is this vehicle that I have primed it a long time ago. I actually did something a little bit different with it, with the airbrush. This is not the final color it's going to be, but I decided to, I primed it black and then airbrushed the AK Dunkelgelb on it. And yes, it looks kind of greenish because I did it over black, but that's okay because I just need some kind of a surface to grab the to Agrax Earthshade. So I'm going to go ahead and this is the thing that's going to take the most drying of anything else. So we're going to Agrax Earthshade this. We've got this finished tanker, which looks great. I mean, the base isn't finished, but he's a little glossy, even though I used that matte varnish from Liquitex that was recommended. I'm going to try adding this matte varnish from Vallejo on it, which I already had, and see if that mattes it up a little bit. I mean, it's a good figure. It looks good. Other than that, it's just shiny. And it's semi-shiny. It's not super shiny, but it does have some shine to it. So we're going to do that. And then we're probably going to start working on the armored cars. Because I don't feel like priming another vehicle right now. So we'll probably start on the armored cars and take care of that. So first things first, we're actually going to try this. We're going to try this varnish first. That way we have some drying time and see how it is. Now I'm not going to go ahead and varnish the whole figure. I'm going to pick a part on it that's probably not going to flex a whole lot and see if that works out okay. So we're just going to get a brush here that's in relatively good shape. And we're just going to do his back. Now this has 2 layers of the Liquitex matte varnish on him. And it didn't dull it at all. As a matter of fact, it made it kind of semi-shiny. So we're just going to do his back. And come back to this and see if in a little while I can tell any difference. So that's done. Okay, the next thing is we're going to get some Agrax Earthshade. That's why we have this nasty thing on here. And we're going to Agrax Earthshade this Dunkelgelb vehicle. just kind of haphazardly. I'm going to go ahead and take the gun off. Good evening, Mr. Barnes. And this is a 187th vehicle. I don't care. I have it. We're going to paint it up. It's going to be an objective. This is going to be like, you know, knock down that that quad flak that's creating all kinds of problems for our flyboys or something like that. It is literally just an objective. That's all this thing is going to be. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing with this. It's got one more day to make it to the weekend. And we're going to have our St. Patrick's Day edition of this show tomorrow. So we can work on hobbies together and have an adult beverage or two. In moderation. Okay, so I think we've got this where we need it to be. That'll come hang out here. We'll take this half track and just get it out of here. Just get it out of here completely. Hey, Rick. Take the hand sanitizer and it takes this stuff right off. Okay, and we will come visit this guy probably tomorrow. So what I plan on doing with this is, you know, just like before, we'll dry brush the yellow on it, and then we'll probably experiment doing some camouflage on it. And I figure there's, you know, not a big deal, no big loss on this thing. I've had this a long time. You have one bottle of Bud saved. Come on, you can do better with that. You can do better than that. Hey, you can drink whatever you want. It used to be a free country. Aren't you out in England? What are you doing drinking Bud? I will not have very much, otherwise I'm just going to get sleepy. And then I won't get any painting done. Alright. Right. So let's get us a new piece of cardboard so I can think properly. So I can't think with a messy work area. I don't know how other people do it. But I don't operate that way. Okay. And let's get a vantage point on this thing. what we're going to work on while those two things are drying. Oh, I got to check on this thing, if this is getting matte. It's a little matter, but I don't know if it's going to be. We'll just let it sit there and percolate. This is what we're going to be working on. SDKFZ 222, or PSW as they call it in ASL and Squad Leader. PSW, Panzer Damn it! My whole life I've called them Spavagen, so I'm going to have to, it's going to take a long time to undo that damage I've caused myself. And it's a 1+1 kit. So that means there's two. I don't know why they couldn't just put there's two in there. And it is a Armor Pro. I guess I'll be a pro once I'm done with this. Hey, if it goes together okay, I'm fine. Now there's two sprues. Actually, it's just one sprue. It's not that many parts. So we're going to take one hole top, one hole bottom. There is a fret of photo etch, which is the grenade screens at the top. We'll put that away, and there's one hole, whatever, and we will come back to that. So it's not a whole lot of parts. Oh, we will need the instructions. Although there's a fair chance I could probably build it without them, but let's build it correctly. All right. Black and white or blue and gray instructions. We're going to build one and then we'll build the other one. I don't want to build them both at the same time in case there's something wrong with the instructions that I discover along the way. And I can avoid that problem when I'm building the second one. And I have had that happen to me before. All right, so let's get some usual suspects out here. We're going to need some sandpaper. We're going to need a file. Nothing super heavy, it's only plastic. Let's get us a new piece of sandpaper. X-Acto blade. We're gonna get us a new X-Acto blade. How about that? Of course, I don't throw the other ones away. There's always something you can use it on when you're cutting metal or something like that. Oh shit, there is one more thing I needed to do. We interrupt this program to interrupt this program. I better do this now. Because it's something that involves some drying time. Won't take long. Blammo! We gotta make a stand for that joker. No, you know what? Se jodió. We'll have to wait till another day. Alright. Let's see what this 20 millimeter barrel looks like. Let's see if it needs, if it can be drilled. Well, for starters, it looks like it's got a mistake on it. It looks like it's missing Crap, I gotta put my glasses on to see what I'm showing you. It's inconvenient. Know if you can see it on here, but it has a little nick on it on one side. Let's see. There it is. It's noticeable there. So we're actually going to have to repair that. This is my first DML kit I've ever built. And they're already starting out with a problem. Let's see if the other one is the same way. Nope, this one's okay. Okay. Let's zoom this out. Oh. All right. So we got our sandpaper ready, tiny little piece. And what do they want us to build first? I don't always follow directions. Sometimes I didn't the other day, and that came in handy. I'm not doing that. It's wanting me to build the suspension. A5. You telling me there's a piece that's all of this is all one piece? What is this stain stuff on here? Come on. A5. Wow. That's pretty incredible. And A19 and A22. That's the three pieces that we need to get off here. Okay, let me see if I can do this. This probably might be a little bit better. Let's see. How do I do that? No, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we can still read stuff like this. Okay, let's wow, that's like a bad trip. I wouldn't know. But let's see here. That better, guys? I think that's better. I think if we put it way the hell up here, let's get this out of the way. We did this the other day and it actually worked pretty well. So let's go all the way to the edge. And then let's move this way a little bit and then rotate it back. Okay, and now let's zoom in a little bit from here. And then let's move this. Okay. I think that's probably okay. That way we can follow along. How's that look, Nordic? You ready to do some PSW 222s? Why does that look like it's blurry? Why does it look blurry? Yeah, it's too blurry. You're not going to want to look at that. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, so the first section we're going to do is 1 here. So we're going to take out piece A5, A22, and A19. And of course, all the labels are on the other side. A5 is here, but you want to cut out the things that are the most delicate first. So you're putting the least amount of tension on them. This thing does not need to hang out there. It's going to be difficult to get up every time. So that item being this right here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and try to nip this. Okay, good. We got that out of the way. Then we're going to cut there. There. It looks like this plastic is a bit on the brittle side. Okay. That is A5. Okay, then we got A19 is down over here. Okay. And A22 is the little guy. This one right here. All right, that's the 3 pieces that we're going to work with. We'll set that off to the side. If you clip a part of the sprue that the delicate parts are connected to, you can release the tension on the pieces without damaging them. Yep. Yep, that's what I'm trying to do, is take off the... Work on the little guys first. The big pieces can take a whole lot of tension, but we don't want to repair any of this shit. That's just time wasted. All right. Let's take this one first. You guys seeing okay, or is it still kind of blurry as shit? I tried to make it better, but I don't know if I did. We could just go to the other view then instead, but... Okay. Let's work our way closer. Be interesting to see how I think this relates to, say, Plastic Soldier Company. I'm going to be surprised if I like this better than Plastic Soldier Company. Be honest with you. Let's just push down on it so it's up against, it's supported. Push down on it here as well. And then this one's going to be creative. Instructions are washed and light and blurry, but I can see the pieces you're working on. Well, I just think this view is probably more useful than the standard one. This is where this is not being an X-Acto knife blade is kind of making a little bit of a difference. Is these blades aren't as sharp as X-Acto knife blades, but they're a hell of a lot more durable. But I think they'll just do fine, especially since this is a part that's on the bottom side of the vehicle. Okay, I think we can support it better. Nope, this side's better supported. There. Okay, I think that's good enough. That one too. Yeah, there's no way to... There's no way to get everything on there. Ever hear of a game called General d'Armée? I have. I have. I don't know anything about it. Haven't played it. But then, I haven't played most Napoleonic games. Okay. We're going to get close on that one. It just depends what you want to simulate, you know? Like, I wouldn't want to play a game of that nature in World War II. That just doesn't interest me. What's that game, Rommel? I don't want to play Rommel. It just loses all the flavor of the different vehicles. Man, why is this catching? It's like just the amount of grit to just catch on there. Let's take a little bit of this. I don't know what time I'm going to start tomorrow. I would imagine by 8. I don't know if it'll be a whole lot earlier than that. Okay, those 3 pieces are done. Oh, and the bottom hull, of course. Let's see if there's any issues with it. No, this thing is pretty free. Free of stuff. This plastic seems weird. But it's like the plastic that I was dealing with from Pegasus. It seems really brittle. Except this one's not transparent. Whereas the Pegasus one was. And let's have the upper hull here just so we can test fit it. I'm going to go ahead and clean this little burr off. What's that set of Napoleonic rules? ESR? Resultat or something? This is the result. I don't know. Everybody has their favorite rule set, and I'm fine with everybody sticking with their favorite rule set. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I don't convert other people. I'll tell you what I'm going to play. I actually don't bring up the set of rules that I'm playing. Other people ask me, hey, what rules are you using? What, so you can convert me? No. I don't care what rule set other people play. That may work for them. Okay, fit on it's pretty good. We've got the little The hair ties, my daughter's hair ties. Here we go. You're contemplating going with General D'Armée and Volley Bayonet for my diplomatic war stuff. I have Volley Bayonet for large battles that lacks details. So areas that like the idea of being able to pay up the distinct regiments of the period and see them as a game scale for certain battles. Like to do specific parts of battles like Hugomont. I was reading an article about a year ago that was saying, you know, the most overplayed battle in history, the most famous battle in history, Waterloo. I've only played part of it once. I didn't even know that my birthday is the same day as the Battle of Waterloo. I didn't know that. I'm not a Napoleonics guy. I can tell you when Barbarossa started. You know. All right, so we're going to take this guy, and this is over here. All right, so it's sitting like this. And one of these axles, or one of the rods, is straight, one of them's curved. Has like a little, like a bend, almost like a Stuka's wing. This is the Stuka wing size. So we're going to test everything for fitness before we get in there. Find out there's a problem. Man, this fits in there pretty freaking tight. That's good news. I mean, like, I don't even have to use glue. I will, but... And then that rod goes from there to... Looks like it attaches at this point. It goes from here to here. Okay, which one are we using? Do I have a piece of tape? Let me see if I have a tape dispenser, because I want to try something. I'll be right back. Hey, nobody here. I don't have to mute the mic. You can hear me all the way on the other side of the house. Well, I do have a tape dispenser somewhere. I don't know where the hell it is. I wanted to put it around the base of this so I don't tip this over, because this is pretty top heavy. So we're just going to use the Tamiya glue today then. Yeah, no, I wanted to just put it around it like a donut. Put it inside to keep this from being top heavy. All right. See, dare I pop this off? Come that pop off. Let's go ahead and get the tweezers out, because we're going to need them in a moment anyways. Let's go ahead and grab the smaller set too. There we go. Well, that's not the one I want to use. This container is too deep. There we go. All right. Where's the attachment points here? Make sure we have the one that's got the bend in it going the right way. Now, I appreciate all this detail that it has on the bottom, but it's just totally unnecessary. It's more important to make this thing robust. Okay. We've got this piece that goes from there to there. Are both sides the same? Basically. Okay, so it's going to go from this point to this point right here. This is what we need the tweezer for. Seems like this piece is bent. Ever so slightly. And it won't attach. I'm going to put a bend in it. There we go. Because I needed to clear like this axle. And it's all part of the same thing, so it's not like I can push down on this and make it better. All for a detail that's not going to be seen. Okay. And A19 goes over on this side. I don't know how yet. Yes, I do. She's going to sit like this. But that may be something it needs to fit on something else. Okay, and it's not like that because it's got the wedge this way. Let's go ahead and just install it. So worst thing that can happen, I got to take it out. It's like it's almost just a protective thing to keep rocks or something like that from coming in there. Okay, so we're done with step 1. Yay! All right, step 2. What's this symbol mean? Optional. Okay, it's optional to put little protectors on the end of the road wheels. Okay, well that means we're going to skip them. Everything's optional. Maybe I want to make it with only 3 tires. It's optional to put the 4th one on. Eric Gray, welcome. All right, step 2 here. We need the 4 tires. And A7 and A6. Looks like times 2 because they're on this side. Even though it doesn't say that, I see them over here. Oh, here it is. A7 and A9. So A9's on this side, A7's there. A6 is here, and A8 is on there. Okay. A50, A1, and A2. A2's on the opposite side. What difference would it make? Okay. You're the boss! Okay, these are labeled 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't see a 3 or 4. Instructions. There is only one Tamiya. This is a DML kit, Dragon. See right here. Even has them labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know what difference it would make that. I mean, the wheels are all the same. Fuck it. These should all be the same part. They look the same. Okay, that's the 4 wheels, which we will sand in a moment. Piece of cake. A50 is the spare wheel that's covered like in a cover like that. Should put "Life is Good" on there. No, because if I did that, then the "Life is Good" symbol from the Third Reich would probably be a crooked spider or something like that, and life's not good with a crooked spider. Okay, the door, which is A48 and A49, these 2 pieces here. Yeah, that's what they say. The Dragon's pretty good, but I'm not impressed so far. I'm not saying it's a piece of crap, but S model's better. So far. What else we got? I'm going to leave these optional parts off. I have to look at photo references and see if I want to go in that direction. Where are these little things that go on the edge of them? They're right here. Okay, so as this thing is facing this way, A7 is up here, okay, and A6 is up there. Okay, so they're just like this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take these guys, this part of the sprue, and I'm going to lay it just like that. I'm going to lay it just like this on the side so it matches how it's laid out. Okay, let's move this guy off to the side. And let's trim these pieces away. This should be the easiest one first. I remember the early 90s when these guys appeared on the scene, 1/35th scale stuff. They were called DML. And now they're just Dragon. I don't know. I still call them DML. Never built one. World War I is an interesting period of war game, but I believe it would get boring if all you did was trench warfare. I have to go with the earlier period, 1914, Eastern, Middle Eastern fronts. I'm not particularly interested in the Middle East. Unlike the Middle Eastern front in the Second World War, the one in the first one just doesn't interest me at all. Sorry. But I can't be into everything. Let's get close. I'm not trying to get all up to it because I'll end up taking a nick out of it. And then you can see it. All right. And let's go ahead and do the tires. Make sure it's not a big nub like this. Very nice 1/6 scale. Wow. You got to be good at faces for those. The only thing I didn't like about S model is I got some decals on the Panzer II set that were supposed to be yellow and they were orange. So useless. Other than that, that's probably the nicest model I've ever put together. There he is. Joe Coton. You coming over tomorrow? I'm sorry. Saturday? I'm not going to be there all day. I'll play the one rapid fire game and then I'm going to go do other stuff. Yep. Yeah, I know. If I keep doing ancients and stuff, I'll never get to do World War II. Let's get a little closer. About 5 years ago, I could just do this with my contacts in. I'm naturally nearsighted. Now I just take them out, and I got +6 magnification, 6.5, something like that. Mr. Dunbar, welcome. I think they called them 1+1 kits because originally they had one quick build and one detail, but I could be wrong. Oh wow! You get to decide which one you want. I don't mind the photo etch stuff at all, except that you got to use glue that you can't use the weld cement. I'm really a fan of the weld cement stuff. When you've done nothing but white metal models for 18 years, or white metal miniatures, and you get to drill your first thing into plastic with a pin vise, it's like, oh, it's like it's amazing. It's amazing. Because I used to build plastic models in the early 90s. When I was a kid, I didn't even have a pin vise. I didn't have all these tools. Let's just give these a good... Just going over them a little bit. I'm not going to do like they used to do in the model club where it's like, well, if you just melt them down so it looks like it's... People would take like their Messerschmitts and stuff like that and make it look like there's weight on the tires. Like, yeah, we're not going to do all that. Remember, these are war game models. Not that I won't... It's not that I don't want them to look realistic, but there's just a point to where it's diminishing returns. And I don't mind putting these things together. It's kind of therapeutic. There's a guy on one of the forums, I forget which one it is, but he just got a model of the Vespa. An old reissued one from Italy, which is actually an old Eschi kit. ESCI, I always called it Eschi. I would never think of calling the support weapon intrinsic in the American squad a bar, but I have no problem calling it Eschi. I don't have to call it ESCI. But anyhow, it's a reissue of their old kit. And he's adding all kinds of details on the inside, and it's pretty fascinating. He posted some pictures, I think today. And it's not that I can't do that kind of stuff. It's just, I've got like 70 of these things to do. And if I go to that detail, I'm never going to make it to the end. So, not being able to be into everything is the reason you don't collect Napoleonic anthropomorphic animals, right? I hate that game. I remember when it came out. What's it called? Slaughter Who or something like that? That's just like dumb. You know, if you're into that, that's fine. But the whole point for me about, this has a pretty heavy line on it. I'm going to try to mess with this a little bit. The whole point in playing historicals for me is to learn about history, is participating in history. You know? We played a game of Rapid Fire last week, a couple weeks ago. And what I didn't like about it was a pickup game. So I didn't get to read anything about the history before or afterwards, because it was a BEF German battle, which is not a period that I know a whole lot about World War II, because the battle for France just didn't last long enough. It's not that I'm not interested in the French. Actually, the French vehicles are pretty cool. It just wasn't long enough for me to get excited about. But it was a pickup battle, so there was nothing to learn about. I'm just going to take this little bit off, and that should be good enough. So I want to play the history and then read about it. That's my way of participating. You could also, I guess, reenact, but I live in Florida, and who the hell wants to wear wool? I certainly don't. But, if you're into fantasy, that's fine. I don't read nonfiction books, so. I do scale models as well. I have to build 35 scale armor and 48 planes guy. Yeah, see, I'm not in a 48 scale planes, and I'm not trying to convert him. I don't care, World War I, World War II subjects. I love World War I German battle cruisers. They're wicked looking. There's a guy that has a naval channel. I don't know how to say his name because it's really long-winded. It's spelled something like Dragnifel or something like that. And what was really unique about it is he took the Seydlitz and he had a model of it that was, I swear it was 350 scale. And he went around like at Jutland and he talked about where the shell hits were on it. And he had either taken paint or marker and put on the actual ship model as he talked about it where the hits happened. And that was pretty cool. I really like that. But you got to be really into ships, You got to be really into ships and that's the first World War II I got into. Well, this fits in there nicely. Okay. And then this one. See, this is something that my 19-year-old self would have never done. I would have never test fitted things. Never. Okay, let's make sure these fit in there nicely. Did they go as deep as they're supposed to? Let's check an end-on picture. If not, we'll drill those out bigger so it fits in there better. It looks like the edge of the tire is even with the tip of this turn in. So if I sit this in like this, is that going to have the desired result? And it needs to go a little further in. It needs to go a little further in because there's a little bit of a gap here between this prong and the other one, and it should be a little tighter than that. Again, something that my 19-year-old self would have never done. All right, so is that a case for all of these? And I don't want to push it on more because it's rather delicate. And I don't mind doing this little tinkering. You know, I don't have to have these built by a certain time. I'm not going back to that. I'm not going back to that. I got to get these things done for a show. Nah, screw it. They'll get done when they get done. Oliver Cromwell. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks, man. How you been? It's almost like you've been hung, drawn, and quartered. Anybody fans of the Pacific Theater? I had a guy growing up with that. I've always played World War II. This ancient thing, that's new to me. I mean, I've been doing it the last 18 years exclusively, but I'm a World War II guy. And back when we used to do World War II, I had several people that were local players that just were not interested in playing anything unless the U.S. was involved in it. And I'm like, I'm already American. I want to role play a little bit. And not that I mind being American, don't get me wrong, it's great, but, you know, I want to role play. I want to do silly accents that, you know. Let's try this one. Let's not get too carried away and go all the way through. And let's just try one of these and see how this works. Well, that's a much better fit. But still needs to go in better, more. You love World War I aircraft, but kit availability in 48 is limited, so I'm focusing on U.S. Navy aircraft, the Pacific War, and World War II at the moment. There you go. You're doing the stuff, you're doing the opposite of what I would do. World War I planes like Rodin and Edward make the best World War I planes on the market in 48th. I don't know, are the instructions on the Rodin planes as bad as the instructions on the Rodin tanks? Armored cars? They're not bad kits. They're just not, they're not newbie friendly. Okay, now, a little bit more. And back when we used to do naval gaming, one of my buddies, it's what he wanted to do is Pacific, and I'm like, come on, man. After Guadalcanal, it's like nothing's worth doing. It's all. The Japanese have a real uphill battle. All right, let me compare this to one that I have not drilled at all, because I don't see much of a difference. Okay, I see a difference. You have the Rodin Spad 7, not really impressed with it. I like Albatrossin. That's the only World War I plane that I would say that is attractive. I think, but I'm not a radial engine plane fan, you know? Marcus, there he is. You got your whiskey ready for tomorrow? You want to start a day early? I'm kidding. We could, but you see how much I drink? I basically don't. Which is a shame because I'm a lot more fun and behave better. Okay, that's where we need to be. We need to just be a smidge away from that prong. Okay, so that one is perfezione. Oh, we got a ways to go. We got a ways to go. Look at the difference here. Look at the difference between this drilled one and this one that's way the hell out here. Oh yeah, the False is a good plane too. Good looking plane. I got a flight simulator game for the VR, the Oculus thing. It's pretty amazing. You can get like 100 planes in the freaking air and it runs pretty smooth. It's got no French planes in it though. That's what I want to play. I don't play French planes. You never get to play French. I mean, I never get to play French. I don't have anything against the French. Okay, it needs to come in a little bit more. Whiskey and Pegasus Soviet Naval Infantry. Oh, vodka shots. How are those Pegasus? Are they really hard? So I looked at the map. I'm reading a book right now called something like On a Knife's Edge. And it's basically Barbarossa, or the Russian front. The Russian front between December 42 to Kharkov. I'm sorry. I meant to say December. I meant to say March. Geez, what am I drinking? Just regular Coke. It's like March 42 to like March 43. And I'm on my favorite part right now, which is Wintergewitter. And I looked at a map today about all these locations that they fought over. And they're like, I know obviously they've changed, but the River Don is completely different. Wintergewitter, of course, is the counteroffensive to relieve Stalingrad, which did not work out well for the Germans. But all of these villages that they fought over, I've compared like a map to, Google Earth. This is part of the Don where it's really flooded, and and if the village is there, it's underwater. So, things change. Okay, cool. Justin Sobaka, welcome back. Hard plastic hold paint really well. Let's see how this guy's doing, by the way. I don't know that it got any less shiny using the Vallejo one. We'll probably go over one, but they got really good faces. Oh well, screw that guy. We're doing armored cars right now. No, a little bit more. It doesn't tell you to do this, but it's going to look funny if the wheels are too far out. Oh, just mention that we're going to have a St. Patrick's Day edition tomorrow. We're going to be doing the same thing, except we're going to have some. Well, we're not going to be doing the same thing. Hopefully, we've progressed from this, but we're going to have some whiskey just to get in the spirit of it. I unfortunately never do anything St. Patrick's Day. It just falls on the wrong day of the week. Well, actually, it falls on the right day of the week this year, but the girls are gone, or my girl's gone. So I'm not going to go to a bar by myself. That's. And I have a feeling St. Patrick's Day is one of those days like New Year's Eve that you probably shouldn't be out on the road. I never traveled on New Year's Eve, and then I did one year, like 3 years back, and it was a disaster. And not for me. I was totally I planned ahead. Like, all right, we're going to be leaving about this time, so ease up on the octane. I was perfectly fine, but nobody else was. I'm not getting on the road again. A really bad day with intestinal issues, so haven't eaten much at all. You feel like you have a lot of trouble controlling your weight, or that pretty much takes care of itself with the ups and downs of that? Not that that's a good weight loss program, but at least there's something good come from it. I'm going to go ahead and put this splotch of this weld cement here in the middle. And we're going to put that guy right there. And hopefully it'll stick. I could use epoxy or something like that. But the nice thing about weld cement is it gives you a long period of time that you can work it and modify it a little bit. Instead, go to a hobby and get more stuff. You really don't lose weight with severe IBS. The medication I'm on for my psoriasis, one of the sidekicks is, you could have experience quick weight loss. And I'm like, so that's a bad part? Yeah, it didn't work for me. I just need to find my metabolism. I left it in 2002. What does impact weight is not being active and eating junk. I've tried really hard to cut out junk and get more active. You know what I've almost given up on? Eating out. The last year in particular, the food and the service, I mean, not that I really need to be waited on, but you don't need an attitude, and it seems like, man, everybody's got a fucking attitude. It's really annoying when you work in customer service kind of stuff, which I do for our customers. I don't work with the public, but I work with people that work with people. And then when you leave work, people have this toot everywhere, and you're paying them a lot more than you were a year ago. I don't mind, I don't want prices on things to go up, but I get it. It goes up, right? But it goes up and it's shittier. I just have no interest in going out anymore. I'd order out much better and cheaper. My problem is portions. I can eat healthy stuff. I like to eat. And I'm not going to eat like a tiny little, I like to eat a plate of food, and it could be vegetables. I have no problem with vegetables. So, oh well. We're going to leave this little guy upside down so we don't have a whole lot of pressure on him. Oh, and we got to put these little nugget things on. All right, well, let's make sure this thing's facing the same way, which was like this. And remember, we aligned this on purpose this way. This is the A7. But of course, it's upside down. So with that said, let's take A7 out and put it here and go around the block that way. Okay, this is the one that goes there. One thing that helps a lot is doing this. I'm not eating the house. You know, I stay busy. Am I going to be on for a night? I hope so. I hope to be on to 10. I hope to be on until 10. This one goes here. Now let's move to A6, which should be this guy here. I'd like to do one pull-up in my life ever. And I'm not that big. I mean, you know, I'm a gamer medium. I might even be a gamer size small. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm not a gamer. I showered when I got home. Okay, and A9 is the other side, and A9 is here. So this one goes here. But I've never been able to do a pull-up in my entire life, ever. There's just muscles you don't work unless you're working them. You know, leg stuff, their legs are carrying your fat ass anyways. You don't even realize it. Your fat ass, you know, unless you can't walk, you know, you're at least carrying your weight, you know. You can at least do that. But at least I got to the point where I can do dips pretty well without any help. So, all right, this goes here, and how are we going to tackle that? Okay, it sits around those two little oh man, what's the other side sit on? Nothing? Just thin air? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is where my 19-year-old self would have just failed miserably because I wouldn't have had a tweezer. So let's go ahead and put the top back on this so we don't have a problem. We're going to use this little hole to grab it by and put it on there like so. See, Plastic Soldier Company would have put all this stuff together, just like, here you go. Just put it on there. And I don't mind doing it as long as it fits together. But on the underside of the vehicle, it's not even going to be seen, so. Kind of ashamed to have all this detail and it's not seen. Okay, that is this. We just have those optional parts. I'm going to go ahead and circle them. I don't normally do shit like this, but I figure if I do need to find what I've skipped over, I'm just going to lightly circle these because I did not choose which option to do them yet. Okay, 2's done. Who makes that model? It is Dragon, or I still call him DML. Oh, I flipped the camera, so here you go. And you get 2 of them in there. They're like $25 for 2 of them, so it's not a bad deal. Okay, 2 is complete. On to 3. I have a Planet Fitness. I do. It's in the wrong part of town. We go to a brand new place. I mean, it's brand new. The bathroom is... I don't want to get the wrong impression and say that it's cleaner than my bathroom, but it looks like it's cleaner than my bathroom. Not that I do anything in there, but maybe nobody does anything in there, and that's why it's so damn clean. Okay, piece section 3 is showing me this part of the vehicle there, okay? And there is a little line here to line something up with. And it looks like there's a muffler there. So we got to take A20 and A21 and A10 and A11. Okay. Oh, I hate putting tow hooks on. These are 1/72. If you see me do any model kits, it's automatically going to be 1/72. Okay, here's A20 and A21. A20 goes on this side, so let's just pull out the two for this side, and then we'll do the flip. So here's A20. Okay, and then the other side, and then the tow hook is A10. Holy smokes, that's small. Okay. And the problem with little things like this isn't that they're small. It's that if it's something that requires sanding, not this, that thing that requires sanding, it's too small to hold on to it anywhere. So you kind of just have to try to make the best out of it. Like this, I gotta say like a prayer to... I should be on by 8 o'clock tomorrow. I can't guarantee, I can't go on and not check out Diablo 4 for like, you know, an hour. I have a feeling it's not going to work worth a damn. Everybody's going to be on it, and it's a beta test anyways. But we only have it for this weekend, and then in a couple weeks we have it for another one, and then we got to wait until June. I figured, oh, it was going to launch at midnight in Pacific, so I can just do it before work tomorrow morning. Yeah, no, they're not doing it until noon tomorrow. It's just really strange to have release dates for things, time, and Pacific Standard Time. Like, who gives a shit about that, you know? Nobody lives over there. Get used to seeing everything in Eastern first. All right, I found a way to hold on to that one. Okay, and this little muffler sits like this. All right, let's glue these two things on. The other thing that got really, when I got back into models, what was strange was, well, I got back into models because of, you know, of playing with miniatures, you know, not just to build models, not do anything with them, but that these things don't weigh anything. So you got to be careful you don't destroy them. Oh, this is interesting. Haha, I didn't fall for that bullshit. I think these two things unite. They meet together, they do. Aha! So because they meet together and I'm not putting the top part on, I don't need to put that muffler on yet, because if I do, it is not likely that I'm going to be able to make them meet. Where's the thing at the end that shows, okay, here it is. Yeah, it connects up here. This muffler connects with that piece. Well, that piece is up here on this. And see, it's already off. So I'm going to take this muffler We're just going to take it off. See, that's one of these things, instructions are wrong. You can't attach that right now because you're going to have it in the wrong damn place. Something just fell off and saw it. I know what it is. It's one of those little guide things. So, if I can't find it, which isn't likely, but if I can't find it, I just won't put it on. I'm not going to look for it right now. It's not that small, but there it is. All I have to do is give up. Yeah. So, just because they tell you to do instructions in a certain order doesn't mean they're right. Suspect you're going to need better than Windows 8 to run it, yeah. So I learned an interesting lesson from an iPad way back when. My wife had an iPad that I kind of used. I did not have a computer for gaming from 2008 until 2020. It just pooped out, and I just didn't think I was getting enough use out of it. I'm sorry, from 2012 until 2020 for 8 years. Well, so I had an iPad that I was using, and I had this game that I hadn't even gotten a chance to play it. And they said, upgrade your iPad to such and such, and it was the 64-bit apocalypse. And for those of you that don't know what that means, let me explain it to you in terms that anybody can understand, because I'm not one of those computer geeks. Basically, it changed the operating system, and if they didn't upgrade the game to the new operating system, then you couldn't run it on the old one. And that's what happened to me. So I got bent and ended up getting a game that I never could do anything with it. So because of that, I will not upgrade this computer to Windows 11, because I don't want that shit to happen. Because imagine if I can't do this then. You're like, oh, well, it's not compatible with this, and now you can't film live. Well, no. I'm good with Windows 10. You know? I don't need to upset the balance. And see these little toe hooks? I'm not going to do it either. I'm going to do it at the end. It's not in the way of anything else. We're going to... Is this empty? It is. Okay. This will be my little tray that I put the muffler and the hook in there. And we'll do that afterwards. And that's what I've had to do with just about every model kit. Like, look at it, I'm like, no, we'll do that later when there's not so many critical pieces in the way. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little mark here. I'm going to go ahead and circle it as well. I haven't done this. Okay. You basically skip piece 3. Because it might be something that, and I encountered that on the armored cars from Rodin. They had the fenders that went on them. They had things that you had to glue on the fenders. But the side of the vehicle is like, it's like this, it's tapered. So if you put the fender on, it wanted you to put the things on the fender before you attach the fender to the vehicle. Well, if you put them too far in this way, the fender won't fit up against the body. And, oh, this thing's just going to be incorrigible. Oh, they're both falling off. Oh, they never built the German things like they used to. All right, I guess we need to put more. I guess it's not going to attach just being attached on the inside. It must be a sloppy fit. I don't want to go on the outside because then you could see some of that weld on there, but you leave me no choice. So when you have to do things out of order, just from experience, that means the model's not noob friendly. Like separate link track. I couldn't do separate link track when I was 19 years old. I did my first separate link track, I think, a couple years ago. And I kicked it out of the ballpark. So much that I prefer doing separate link track. But I had to develop, patience and, I build it on this cardboard by itself and then attach it. And it's like a dream, But it takes time. I'd rather just all be one piece, but how's that half track looking, by the way? Is it drying? Is it drying? Yeah, it's drying. Yeah, it looks super dark. It's going to be dry brushed up. It's out of scale. It's 1/87th. It's an objective. I've had that thing for 30 years. I wouldn't buy something 1/87th scale, but I already have it, so. Okay, so we skipped 3. Here's more of those tow hooks that we're going to skip over. A23 is the front bumper, and A18 is the cover that goes over it. All right, so let's take a look at those 2 items. And some of these are as delicate as rodent stuff, which I am actually not a fan of them being that delicate. Okay, this is attached here, so let's go way away from it. Actually, let me take a look and see how much support this has if I cut it on here. I got a fair amount of support, so I'm going to go ahead and cut there and there. Okay, and the A18 is this one right here. God, it feels like a Friday, but it's not. Okay, that's the 2 pieces that go in this one. We're going to skip these 2 little hooks. We'll put them on afterwards. Okay, let's trim these 2 pieces up. I realize I don't mind putting models together as long as I'm not interrupted. As long as I don't have to do them by a certain amount of time. But this whole rush to do your hobby, that's horse crap, This is supposed to be therapy. So, I don't know anybody who enjoys being rushed in therapy. Eric, I don't know if you're on here still, but you mentioned you like doing U.S. Navy aircraft. The one thing that drives me crazy about the Pacific War is if you look at models for the Zero, they always call it, the nickname for the Zero is the Zeke. I have never heard anyone call a Zero a Zeke ever. Never. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I've never heard anybody call one. Okay, this sits like this, and let's make sure that it fits in place. My favorite Japanese plane, of course, is a Tony. Durr. Oh, look at that, it doesn't fit. These markings are not where this goes. Unless they're markings for this, let's check that. This would fit like this. I never in a million years would have pre. Okay, they fit here. All right, so then the markings for this. Maybe it doesn't have any. It just okay. It fits on the ends. My bad. Recall the kill team. You never seen a U.S. reference to a Z. Yeah, it's stupid. Like, why? There's actually a lot of really cool Japanese planes that they may not have been very good, but they're elegant looking. A couple of their bombers, they're lighter bombers. I remember playing. What was the name of that old video game? Aces of over the Pacific, or Aces of the Pacific. Remember that good old Dynamics game back in the early 90s? Never run across it. I don't think I like any of the U.S. Navy fighters. And that doesn't mean they weren't effective. That just means attractive-wise, I just don't think they're very attractive. And I'll be honest with you, I like... That's why I got this, too. I wish the U.S. Navy would have kept this. I like the red in the center. Because like the Hellcat towards the end, I don't like how they look. It's one color blue, it's gloss. It might have been effective. It's certainly an effective platform. It's just not an attractive vehicle. A great game, Aces of the Pacific. Oh, yeah. KI-43 was even more maneuverable than the A6M, but had squat for guns. Yeah, a lot of the Japanese... See, I don't know the KI-43. Is that the Oscar? P-40. Oh, yeah. P-40 is a... I don't care if it wasn't an effective plane. That's a cool plane. That's a cool plane. Oh, yeah, I like me. That's the first model I ever built. I believe it was a monogram snap kit P-40 in 1/72nd scale. And, yeah, I like a P-40. Yep. And I'm more of a fan of an inline engine. I like the inline engine planes. I like how they look better, So, if we're talking about German planes, I prefer Messerschmitts to Focke-Wulfs. I'll make an exception for a Focke-Wulf D9. That is a sexy plane. But I've always been a fan of the Stuka. Which is a great plane unless you're playing a flight simulator, in which case it is not a great plane. You have to protect it at all costs, the lumbering POS. It's a target. Messerschmitt 410. That's a cool looking plane. I don't care that it wasn't effective. I'm building the model. I'm not flying it. I'm not a Nazi. I just like building the plane. Yeah, I like me a P-40. Spitfire? What the hell's not to like about a Spitfire? It's a beautiful aircraft. Especially with Normandy invasion stripes. Normandy invasion stripes just like makes everything look better. A lot of the Russian aircraft are really attractive. Some of those late war Yaks with the light blue camouflage, that's a beautiful plane. Okay, I think, let's take a look at the front view. This is actually a pretty good kit from the standpoint that it gives you this front view that can answer a lot of questions. It could answer a lot of questions. Okay, it's going to be, that plate is going to be even with the bottom of this whole thing. So is it even with it or is it lower? It's even with it, so that's where it needs to be. Excellent. Superbus. Maki 202. Yeah, it is. It is pretty good. And you know I like the toning. It's, it's a shitty Messerschmitt, but it's sleek looking. So I have an Oculus. My wife decided to give my daughter and I an Oculus. It's that Facebook thing, VR thing. And I'm like, why'd you get that? It's not that good. Well, if you watch any videos of any of the gameplay on the Oculus, they don't do it justice. It looks a lot better when you have it on. It works pretty well. And they have 2 flight simulators, and they have more than 2 flight simulators, but they have 2 flight simulators that are historical, a World War one, and they have a Pacific one as well. And they are incredible. They're incredible because unlike a regular flight simulator, one thing you can do is, in the regular flight simulator, you've got your nose of the aircraft, and you have your reticle there, and that's all you got, right? If you had a joystick with a hat on it, you could look ahead and then go back to your view. But with the VR, you have it on, and you can actually, when you're banking, you can look ahead of what isn't in your view yet, so you can keep an eye on. I mean, it's amazing. Now, if you suffer from motion sickness, you're screwed. But I can tell you this: I obviously do not suffer from motion sickness because it doesn't mess me up. But it's pretty incredible. So I got on there when they released the World War II one. I'm like, all right, good. We'll be able to talk World War II. These guys the guys playing that game, and they're, most of them are adults, or they sound like they're adults. They don't know shit about World War II. It'd be like, if they were just playing Halo or something like that. It's just a game to them. And I'm like, well, that's kind of disappointing. Because that's one of the things I like about gaming World War II is you get to talk World War II while you're playing World War II, right? It's the whole point. So, anyhow. All right, so this guy is put together so far. Let's see what this little critter looks like. Cute little guy. And it is significantly smaller than the 231. And let's see, so we're done with this stage except the tow hooks. We're not going to put them on until the end. Where is my pencil? Okay. We have a headlight here, the horn, and all kinds of accoutrements that go on the side here. Okay, A43. Come on down. A43. Ooh, you are delicate. You are very, very delicate. All right. Which one is it? This one? Okay, now we should be good. And this is one of the problems about sanding this little stuff. There's nowhere to hold on to that. You can't sound, you've got this thing that's clipped in. This piece is totally round, so you just got to do the best you can with what you have. So we got the bottom of this, needs to be taken off. Okay, and the same thing here. There's nowhere to hold on to this thing. And I'm incredibly right-handed. So it's it's in my own way. So you just do the best you can. Let's see how we did. We did all right. Fortunately, it's on the inside. Okay, so that's A43. Okay, the horn, A45. Your back, that wasn't long. Okay, A45 is supposed to have a little prong on the bottom, and it does not. It's missing a prong. Well, we're not going to build that. We're going to cut it off, and we're just going to lay it on top there and just hope for the best. A51 is this fender part right here. A40 is this big contraption of things. And A42 is a fuel can, which looks like it's in some kind of a bracket. And here, it does have the bracket. It's just on the other side. Okay. Germans are always short on fuel, but yet they had fuel cans everywhere. And A53, the other fender. That's all the pieces that go in step 5, all right? Made some fries in the air fryer and a grilled cheese, easy and fast. The air fryer is awesome, isn't it? The air fryer is awesome. Let's get close. And same way, let's get close here. We use the hell out of ours. Even Rick could cook in one. Here's this horn. Oh, this looks like it's going to take flight if I don't hold on to it correctly. See the front of this just has flash on it. This ain't no Tamiya kit. This ain't no S model. Air fryer is definitely awesome. It is. It is. Doesn't heat up your house. Best thing the wife ever bought. Uh-oh.
I thought you were talking about me saying
Hopefully you guys can talk to your wife. You know, I'd just be if my wife was in this room, I'd back the same damn way. She knows what you got into. And she could be better at everything else other than in order, maps and directions, because I'm better at that than anything else. Better than history, better than painting. I got that in my blood. I got that from my dad. This joker don't get lost. And I do that kind of stuff for a living, so that only reinforced that. What else? History stuff. She don't know shit about history and painting stuff. She can be better at everything else. You know. Even you're for sale. Yeah, it cooks everything healthier than before, for sure. The only problem with it is if you make something with cheese, And, you know, it can make a mess. Look, this is a great hobby. What are we doing? We're sitting at home, you know? We're not out carousing or doing something else. You know, my wife's gone for 5 days, and I told her right before she left, I said, well, you know where I'm going to be, you know? This is a great hobby. Wargaming, building stuff in general. I just wish there were more people in the real world that did it, because I find myself like not having people to talk to on a daily basis about the stuff that really interests me. You know, they're just, even if they're not war gamers, just people that are interested in history, they don't exist. I mean, yes, it's 1 in 100 or 1 in 200 or 300. They're pretty rare, you know. Okay, I think we've got, let's do a test fit. Oh, at some point, the top got added to the bottom. What? Get out of this city. And look, there's a shovel that wasn't here before. I'm telling you, all these kits have issues that are not user friendly. Like, here's a shovel that just poof appears. Oh, maybe it's C. I don't know, but it doesn't tell you to attach the two pieces yet, and yet somehow they're attached here. It's Mother's Day here on Sunday. I've ordered her a gift first time ever. A mummy in a sarcophagus. If she doesn't like it, I'm claiming it for scatter terrain. Hey, whatever works for you. It's Mother's Day when? On Sunday. Are you over there in the land down under? Our Australian allies? Ah, shit on a shingle. This thing needs to adjust a little bit. Oh, I'm in luck. It still didn't glue again. One word for you. Shoddy. Let's do this one. It's bigger. A mummy for Mother's Day. UK. I could say our cousins, but it's not my cousins. Sorry, you had your chance. 1588 and all that. I think every year they put that thing, that meme that goes out. I haven't cared about the royals since 1776. And I'm like, I got you beat. It's 1588 for my people. Oh, shit. The two halves fit together just fine. God, this thing's little.
Eek, eek.
Little Nazis in there. Only thing I wouldn't be able to handle about the UK. That driving on the wrong side of the road, man. That's it. Everything else about it'd be cool. And why does hardly anybody speak the Queen's English? I mean, you guys invented the language. Go to base shop. Pendragon. Okay, this is the part we gotta grab my daughter's hair ties, which work really well. Again, something I wouldn't have had as a 19-year-old. Well, I wouldn't have had a daughter. Thank goodness. I know of several people that have gotten married and they can't even legally drink yet. Which I will tell you is the dumbest thing about this country that I can think of on short notice. And drinking is not a big part of my life, but that's just stupid. All right, now let's carefully move this away from the danger zone, which are these wheels that could be damaged easily. I'm probably just going to cut these off instead of run the risk of going over this and damaging the... This is one of those vehicles that is well served to be on a base. MDF. I don't mind MDF. Clipboard material. Okay, this thing fits pretty well. I am due for another soda. I'll be right back. Okay. Well, this little thing takes a while to do. You know, if you're going to do it right, you know, shit, it's almost 9 o'clock. Okay, so we got this little guy right here. There is a fender that's going to go up front here, which is this one. We can't put it on there yet because that's in the way. Actually, I could probably just scooch it back. Let's do that. Let's scooch it back. I bet it'll hold there. Oh, F this. I bet it's already glued. Oh, cover my eyes. Yep. Same thing here. I've used these lots of times, so I don't feel bad about trashing them. Okay. There's always fumbles. Okay. If you get that reference, you get the reference. I bet Nordic gets that reference. That fits just like that. Okay. Let's hold on to this thing. Actually, can we get away with this? We sure can. Excellent. It's been many years since I had one of these self-crimping ones. And now I like to this is going to go right there. I missed what I said. It's always fumbles. When I almost fumbled something. Come on, man. You have to know that reference. Okay. Beep, beep. All right. This is where this headlight goes on. Again, probably the correct order to do these things in is put both fenders, both sides, then put the headlights in. But I don't see the other one there. They want you to put it in step 6. Can't say that I know the reference. You've never seen Robot Chicken? There's a robot. If you haven't seen Robot Chicken, there's a Robot Chicken episode. And I haven't seen a lot of them, but man, it's funny when they make freaking toys that you had as a kid come to life. That's some funny shit right there. ADC command control aspect, not sure if I got tweaked. But it's been many years. Robot Chicken. Yeah, it's the Robot Chicken one of G.I. Joe. It was always fumble. That was hilarious. Mitch and I laughed. But it's funny because it's the toys. You know, they're making the toys saying inappropriate things. Okay, how does the front of this thing sit? Okay, does it sit straight? It does. Well, I'm going to lean it up against the fender because it needs another point of support. But let's line this thing up so it's straight on there. Okay, cool. I'm not impressed with these kits. Okay? S Model and Plastic Soldier Company are still tops. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. C-Lab 2020. A couple of Star Wars ones are freaking hilarious. But the appeal is, you know, they're toys that you had as a kid. You know? ATHF is so freaking funny. Carl is my favorite. What the heck is ATHF? Oh, the gas can's optional. Uh-oh. They have the look out symbol. Look out! Be careful. What do you have to be careful about? I guess when you fuck it up, you'll figure it out. Whoops. Okay, this thing sits like this. All right, how much meat is between this and the door? Let's consult the drawing. Okay, well, I think I need to put that fender on first. Although that fender has a lookout symbol, so what is it? There's a couple other pieces I didn't take out. 25 and 26. A25 and A26. What do we got here? We got a little moth? Yeah, we got a little moth. You dumb bastard. How'd you even get in here? Yeah, you're a little thing. Adult Swim in the early 2000s was the best. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Okay. Any of you guys watch, what's the thing that I'm watching now? Community? Any of you guys watch Community? My daughter and I have watched that. We're not watching it together. We're kind of... Some of those episodes are freaking hilarious. A25, A26. Here's A26 is the little guy. A25 is this guy right here. Alright, so let's take A25 off. Let's take A26 off. You haven't seen it. You should watch it. Give it 2 episodes. It draws you in quick. Well, you watch one episode, I'm like, this isn't that funny. And I'm like, I'm watching another one. Okay, here we go. Yeah, Community's the one with Chevy Chase. Yeah. There's a couple episodes. There's one episode that involves a pillow fort that's freaking hilarious. I almost peed myself. So I watch that at lunchtime because, you know, laughter is the best therapy. Okay, so this part, okay, that part stays. But that goes, and then this top part goes. Right. We'll call it a drawer. Speaking of peeing yourself, I almost peed myself today when I looked at the clock in my truck on my way to grab dinner, and I hadn't switched ahead yet, and I thought I left work an hour early. I thought you were working from home. I thought you were working from home. All right. Why is there a warning sign? Okay, here's A53. Why are these Hong Kong people creating a crisis where there is none? DML used to be Hong Kong. Are they still? I don't know. Hong Kong has a new master now. This sits like this, right? And on the back, I know what they're trying to tell me to be careful about, but this is going to sit like that, okay? And then this sits on the top portion of that. How? I'm telling you, this stuff is not, I mean, if it's ultimately not that important, but if you want it to look right, it kind of is. There's a lot of series we watched as a family. The best one, I think, is Friends. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I think that the writing, the acting, that was really superb. Another one that I watch with my wife is... if you have Hulu, you know which one you'd like, Nordic? You may like it. Future Man. Future Man has some funny. I never finished watching it, but Future Man has some funny freaking stuff in it. The premise of that one is that this guy is a janitor, but he's really good at this video game. And once he beats it, it's actually a recruiting device from the future to basically they come back and get him as a savior. It's like a big, almost kind of like Terminator 2, Rise of the Machines or whatever. They come and get him. And it's freaking hilarious. There's some funny stuff in there. If you like inappropriate stuff, yeah, it's really, really funny. It's really, really funny. Yes, they're still Chinese. Yeah, Future Man's good. That one doesn't take long to get good. That's like 2 episodes in. If it's a series that takes more than 2 episodes to realize, I could just be wasting my time. It's not very good. But once it gets off to like a running start, like, okay, this is good. I can't look at the name of that game and not go, Agricola. All right. Let's go ahead and use this handy little device. So the fit on these pieces aren't bad, but the instructions aren't great. I still have not encountered instructions better than Tamiya. End of story. There's fit on some stuff that's better than Tamiya. Honestly, believe it or not, the fit on the Pegasus stuff is really good. I took a look at the Pegasus kits and I'm like, these are going to be a piece of shit. Boy, was I wrong. Other than them being really brittle, they're actually pretty high quality. But the S model stuff's incredible. And they're Chinese. So the Chinese can make good stuff if they want to. But S model's only 72nd scale, so if you're doing something else, it doesn't really apply. Okay, that sits like that. Oh, that's really weird. I was actually not expecting that. That may be a problem. I hadn't even considered that. I was thinking this doesn't fit right around the fender, but that's how the fender is. See, look at the side view of the front fender. It's weird how it's like that, but that's how it is. That's how it is in the picture, too. I would have thought that it would have been centered in that fender, but silly Germans. Here. This is where we are. Rick, do you have a group of people that you play games with? Obviously you pretty much just play at your house because it would be stupid not to play at your house, considering the setup you have. But do you have anybody who comes to your house regularly and every time you ask them, hey, what do you want to play? They always suggest that one game that you'd rather not play. And if so, what is that game? Because you have as many games, you shouldn't play the same one twice. I think that fits like that. That's what the drawing shows. It's hard to say what I'm even looking at. It looks like this thing's has this piece taken off, but I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to put it in my bin of do later, and we'll just circle it. I actually have never done this circling thing, and it makes it easy to find which is skipped over. Now, with that fender being in place where it goes, now I'm kind of sandwiched where this thing's going to go. It makes it easier to decide where I'm going to put it. Oh, and it could fit right even with the fender. Does it fit right even with the fender? Yes, it does. Well, okay, there you go. All right, let's see what you responded. Oh. Thankfully, no. I think mostly because they only play what I teach them, and I refuse to teach them those games. Okay. So a couple games I don't want to play again. Battlestar Galactica, and I think it's Camelot. You've been reading my blog. That's exactly what I said. I hate those two things. Yeah, I don't like the trader aspect stuff. Then there's that one game you love but totally suck at. I don't suck at it, but I'm not very good at Maneuver. And Maneuver is a great freaking game. It's a beautiful game. It's a Napoleonics game. And I'm not very good at it because I'm not good at games that involve thinking ahead, like chess type of planning. I'm just not good at them. I don't enjoy doing that insane long range planning in my real life. So I'm not a big fan of those things. Hey, I can't be good at everything. You know, there's things that you do for work that gives you an edge that maybe you're better at than most people. I'm really good at what I like to call, and I never understood it in college, it's called critical path. That means working on the next most important thing. Like, you can't work on what you want to work on. You got to work on what's coming up next. Critical path. What's the critical path? If this doesn't get done, it literally will screw everything else up. Lots of people suck at that. I can tell you from personal experience, lots of people suck at critical path. And it's very important. Especially in anything construction related. You know, it's kind of like you're sending out invitation. You're worried about what's on the invitation for a party, but you don't even know when the party is going to be held. You know? Very tactical minded individuals. I find playing worker placement games and gamer games thinking can be great fun. I'm surprised I didn't catch any flack for what I said the other night. I said, you know, the problem with Napoleonics is it's, you know, the French don't make a good antagonist. It's just the French. You know, it's just different than Nazis. Nazis are a great antagonist. You know, they're assholes, and you gotta stop them. But it's just the French. You know, what's the big deal? I didn't come from a background of playing Napoleonic games, so. This is the great thing about weld cement. I've already put this where it goes, but I can tinker with it because it's still kind of soft in a way. It's kind of handy. Okay, we're going to wait on the gas can too, which is optional. Okay, we're done with this little section. The nice thing is this thing is narrow enough that it's going to fit on the remnants of the stands that I use for the other stuff nicely. So I'm not going to waste another piece on these guys. Because I do have a finite amount of resources. All right, let's move to the other side. Zone 6. I'm glad I didn't build 2 of them at once. This is just... they'll get done when they get done. If you're playing Napoleonics and you're having fun, you ain't playing it right. Oh, man. I love playing Austrians. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm pro Habsburg anyways, so. Let's see what we got here. We have a couple fenders. We have another light, which is A46. A46. So there's not that many pieces, but it's taking a little bit of time. I haven't timed myself, but we'll get done when we'll get done. Why did I say A46? Where the hell did I even get that from? Oh, because the A46 is the headlight. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking it was one of the other pieces. All right, so here's the headlight. Cut. Okay, A46, put it over there. A52 is the fender. A54 is the other one. Okay. A27 is like a little fire extinguisher. Here she is. I don't know how the little fire extinguisher is going to stop anything, but okay. And the old jack. A28. I came really close to getting the Panzer 4D set from Armor Fast, but I've got to add so much detail to that thing, it's probably not worth it. Like doesn't even have the jacks. And these jacks are ubiquitous to German vehicles. They knew they were going to have to change tires on these things. Every vehicle has those. And we also need A24. A24 is hanging out over here. I did not think I was going to wake up this morning and say ubiquitous. You've played the hunted. A solitaire game like that is good to play with a partner, and then they can roll for the enemy, and then you just alternate sailings, right? And then you could see like, man, I had a hell of a time on this cruise, and then your fellow player gets to experience something else. I used to play the Patton's Best that way, and then you'd roll for the enemy when the enemy got to do stuff. Today's word for that. There's a lot of words that you know what they are, you just don't use them. And, it's even worse. Like, I speak Spanish fluently, but I've never been to school for it, and I only used it to talk to mom and dad. So I have kind of the vocabulary of a 9-year-old in Spanish. So, there's a ton of words that I don't know what they mean unless I can figure out the context. And a lot of words that I know what they mean, but I just don't use them. So it's even worse for me in Spanish. But because at least I read things in English. Yeah, that's a big word that I actually don't use. I don't know how the hell that happened, but what I like is people that use words and then they don't know how to spell them. You know, like if you're using the word accoutrement, but yet you don't know how to spell it, you probably shouldn't be using it. Which historical gaming up here is just hard to find good historical gamers early. Get Historicon close to you. Yep, and I'm not going this year. I'm not going this year. And I actually don't feel bad about not going this year. Having that one year where they just didn't have it kind of cured me of because up to that point, it's like I've been to every one since I found out about it. Because I went in 2006, I went in 2007, went in 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then complete stop. Armageddon's here. You know? And then when they did hold it again, they moved it to November. That's a no-no. Accoutrement. That sounds like something you put somewhere else to deodorize it. Oh man. Don't buy those. Don't buy those. You got to get the unscented ones. Okay, I got it. I actually don't. I do half of the grocery shopping. I go to the grocery store. I go to this grocery store pretty often. I'm pretty good at it. The thing I suck about the grocery store. I'm good about making a list, but if it isn't on the list, it doesn't get bought. So even something that I need, like very, very importantly, if it's not on the list, it's like a no gray area. But I don't mind getting those things for the girls. They don't. It doesn't bother me. I'm not like embarrassed or something like that. No, you just got to be careful. Okay, is it the right size? Okay, you got to make sure it's the right. Okay, right, all that stuff. Not a big deal. That's one of those things that's just kind of like, I think that's like, what do you call that? Like an urban legend that, I don't know, it just doesn't apply to me. It was never a big deal. Okay, this thing. Didn't think we were going to talk about that today, did we? Okay. I think we got all the moving parts there in this little guy. I have an old Airfix one somewhere, so when I get done with this, it'll be interesting to put them side by side and go like, man, that Airfix one looks like shit. You know? Uh-oh. This thing has a little hole there. Why does it have a little hole there? There's nothing that attaches to that. Very interesting. Okay. I'll have to hold on to that thought. This should go like this. That's so weird that that fender sits like that. That wheel is not centered in the fender. That is so strange. Oh well. Good thing they didn't win the war. All fenders would look like that. These are the ones that are a pain in the butt to put on there because they're rounded. They tend to like to fly off. Now, we're going to have to lean this against the vehicle. Just for support. Should be all it takes. I mean, the tweezers are like the most important thing. The only thing that bugs me in ASL is the price. Yeah, I played it for many, many years. I don't know if I played it. The turn structure is just very awkward. It's a little too regimented. I think the way that Lock and Load Tactical does it is better. However, I'm surprised they haven't gotten sued. Because not only does it look very similar to ASL, and I prefer a system that's not 2d6. I don't like the bell curve thing. Now, with that said, I played ASL for many years very happily. So, and, you know, I certainly do not think it's a bad game. But I haven't played it in a long time, and I wouldn't go back to it because of, well, many reasons. But I think the turn is a little too structured for my taste. But, like I said, I prefer the structure of... Lock and Load Tactical, but I can't believe they haven't been sued because they just had like a Stalingrad module and they had like their Streets of Stalingrad type game or whatever, a Tractor Works game, and they literally copied the map. They copied Board 1. And it's stupid because Board 1 is not what Stalingrad looks like. It's not like you're talking about the Streets of Stalingrad scenario, you know, the big one that folds out that actually supposedly has historical looking terrain. Board 1 is just random buildings in a city, you know, and you know which one I'm talking about. They've got, you know, the main building that's 6 or 7 hexes or whatever, and has the buildings around the outside, and the Germans are trying to, you know, the guards counterattack and all that kind of stuff, right? They have a Lock and Load Tactical has a I have their game on the computer. It's actually a pretty decent game. It's the AI is too easy, and it's buggy to play against another player the last time I tried it. But, you know, the map is exactly a ripoff of Board 1. I'm like, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just make another map, you know? It's, how does ASL play Solitaire? You just got to play stupid and not know. I mean, it'll work, but if I'm going to play something solitaire, I'm going to play something else. I'm going to play something on computer. I'll play Armored Commander or something like that. There's other things for me to play solitaire, which is probably why I haven't messed around with these rules yet, because I've got to at some point, and I think I've got Sunday is probably going to be the day that I'm going to mess with it a little bit. Or at least I say that now. Who knows if that actually happens, but I got to do it on a day where I'm not being distracted and sit around and talk to myself just to refamiliarize myself with them. But I'd rather just do something else than learn rules. This is an awful finicky little model. No, and I don't think it's beginner friendly. I mean, I'm not having any trouble with it, but it's not beginner friendly. Okay, we're going to wait on this jack. Because I'd like to make the two vehicles different. So in other words, one may have the jack in a different place than the other one. Yeah, I knew a friend of mine who had the solitaire module, and I had a guy that it was difficult for me to find somebody that wanted to play ASL back in the day in the early 90s. And then I found a guy who was really into it. And he had the computer assisted one, right? Which sounds like a great idea. It's just a DOS program. And as you go, if you have like a weird die roll, it'll ask you, okay, this means you need to check for weather. This means, so you don't forget something. And there was an option in there, unfortunately, that would let you roll the dice. And this person would not play the game without letting the computer automatically do the dice rolls for you, which to me is like takes all the fun out of it. I like to play games with dice. It's just fun. It's how you can put your own spin on it. And he was like adamant not against it. So I'm like, I tried it one time or a couple times and just left me feeling empty. And I'm like, I just don't want to play it anymore. Okay, so we just didn't play. And then eventually I sold my copies. I didn't do anything with it any time. I sold my West of Alamein unpunched for like $200. This was, 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. To a guy in Spain. It was like $50 or $60 in freight just to get it out there to him. He paid like almost $300 for this game. What did I do? I turned around and bought all the Viejo paints with them. I didn't just like pocket the money. It went back into the hobby. So. What rules are you going to use with your World War II stuff? The face of battle. ASL seems like a game that if you get into it, that will likely be the only game you play. I don't know. I don't think it's a very difficult game, honestly. And it's easy to find stuff, when rules come up. I mean, there's a lot of rules, but they're written logically. They're easy to understand. It's a beautiful rule book. It's a beautiful rule book. There's a lot to like there. But what keeps me doing miniatures is I can paint things and use them. So, playing a board game, I don't mind playing a board game as long as it's attractive looking. But there's no creative aspect to it. Which I need in some form or another. Okay, this fits in here on top of this. Okay, the jack's already on that one. A41. A41 is like an armored cover for the back grill. I'm going to cut it out and put it there in the parts and not put it on there, because I bet they didn't do that to every one of them. Like I said, I want to build these two guys different, just to give them some personality. So I'm going to check my picture sources on that one. Yeah. Need to paint or draw or... As a guy at work used to say, who'd make up his own words, releasal. You need releasal. I'm waiting on this job for releasal. I used to tell him, it's not releasal, it's releasage. Okay, let's circle that one. And pretty much the body of the armored car is done. Now we have the autocannon. With its odd things. Autocannon with the odd things. A39 is the base of it, and you need to keep this piece in the center. It is not flash. Let's cut this way out here. This one as well. And then this one as well. Okay. This is definitely the weakest point on the Airfix kit, is this little turret that doesn't have a whole lot of detail and does not have grenade screens. I guess you're not having any second thoughts about ditching the Blue Moon guys. I don't blame you. Life's too short to be painting things you're not happy with. And it looks like those sculpts aren't great, and if you've got a lot of miscasts, that only makes that situation even worse. A commission. I learned a long time ago not to paint for other people. I painted for some guy and I hated every little bit of it. And I did it because I needed the money, because I was like, you know, uber poor. Uh-oh, don't break on me now. I didn't want you cut there. I was working on the other side. As soon as I'm paying for somebody else, or I'm on a timeline for it, I just lose interest. I'd rather just do something else. Again, I'll tell you what, only thing I don't like about connecting with you guys is the time is really flying by. I used to love Tamiya's paint. I don't think I'd like it now. It just behaves weird compared to other stuff I'm used to. Well, this has a little notch in the front and the back, but... okay, there it is. We're going to have to take that notch off because we don't want that tight of a grab. There we go. All right. The autocannon. Like Tamiya paint, but only for model building using my airbrush. Yeah, it gets like sticky when you brush paint it. All right. This thing. The weakest link is definitely here on the barrel. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. That went well. A30 is a machine gun. God bless it, that one is. That one is a doozy. Okay. You did it. And this one's easy compared to that one. Okay, perfect. And then we have A31 and A32, which are this one and this one. And no, I'm not going to make the gun raise. Got me flapping about Blue Moon stuff. I'm planning a Lanchneck army using them. I have their Renaissance stuff, and their figures are good. They're good. I have the... Have you seen my Lanchneck, guys? Lansknechts? Let me know if you haven't seen them. I'll put them up here on the screen. I think they turned out really well. But that's not the same sculptor as the Blue Moon for AWI. They don't even remotely look the same. Okay, here's the machine gun. You haven't seen them. Okay, I'm going to take a short non-commercial break. Let's do a couple things. All right, I think I need to rotate, and flip. Okay, and that puts things back in this field of view. Perfect. Now, let's zoom in. All right, let's go get them. I don't think they're here. I think they're in the other room. Correct. Lanchnechts. Lansknechts. In particular, stands of 4 figures each. They're the pikemen from Blue Moon. And I highly recommend you use pins for the pikes because they have a taper on them. The flags are by a company called Pete's Flags, who does incredible work. I could paint them, but then, that's 40 hours each I'm not going to get back. Lighting's kind of effed up here. It's not perfect. But these are the Blue Moon figures. Let's not knock something down here while we're thinking about it. And they give you a lot of different poses. You get rid of this. Here's another stand of them. This is for medieval German 413D. It's basically Maximilian's army. I don't really like the lighting in here. It's a little too, brash. If you look at them in natural light, they look a little better. These guys were fun to paint. Painted them one guy at a time. Come on, focus, damn it. So the thing that's unique about the Blue Moon figures is, if you notice their legs, they tend to be cankled. You look at these, they tend to be almost have the same width that they have at the knee all the way down. So their legs aren't very tapered, but it also makes them, they're very durable. That's really the only gripe they have. Their horses are kind of the same way as well. They generally have good faces, at least this particular sculptor. And to paint up well. And they tend to be a tiny bit on the large size. They're like Old Glory 15s. They're similar to Old Glory 15s, which are definitely on the larger size of things. So, lens connects. Lens connects. Anyhow, that's the pikemen. That's the only ones I have. I have some Spanish by them also painted. Let me go put these guys back. Yeah, you don't have to twist my arm. I get burned out from painting because my freaking butt gets tired and I'm sitting in one spot. This gives me to get up and move around some, so I don't really mind. And I've got some of their mounted as well. Fuck it, we're on a show and tell. Let's pull a couple things out of here. Alright, let me show you something that's not Blue Moon, but goes with that army. And I think turned out really well. Even though it's a manufacturer that some people don't like very much, which is Museum. And they're older museums, which are all over the place. And this is their red cannon. And you could tell like this guy, the boss man over here, he's a big figure. He's a big dude. This looks better not in this light. The problem is this light is so bright that it just kills all the natural, in natural light it looks even better. The coloring is more, it's less brash. So, but here is a couple things that are Blue Moon. These are French Knights, also with Pete's flags. Oh shit, let me not F it up while I'm at it. This is my French commander, French king. Actually, this is a minifigs horse, which people talk shit about minifigs. I love minifigs. This is a good casting right here, the guy on the end. But the center guy and the guy on this edge are both Blue Moon, and they are good looking castings. What static grass do I use? Man, I've had it for so long. I highly recommend it. Let me find it. It's called Scenic Effects, and I got a 6-pack that comes with 6 different colors. I really only use one. And this is the particular one that I use. It is called Farm Pasture. And how big was this originally? 32 ounce. And here's what's left of it. So I've used this for a long, long time. So I've been pretty happy with that one. There's other colors that are just kind of, I mean, this has just a lot of the foam and stuff in there. I mean, I'm going to be working on some stuff with trees and stuff with 20 millimeter stuff. So I'll start working with those other things on there. But anyhow, this kind of gives you an idea what the Blue Moon Knights look like. They look pretty good. This is another one that has... Now, the Blue Moon Knights have one thing I really dislike about them. And that is that their lances look like rolling pins. I don't think it has a size. It's just... it's called Farm Pasture is the flavor. Blended texture. And it's XP. Oh, it's in Pennsylvania. You could just go to the drive-thru. It's 1001 Lowry Avenue, Jeannette, PA. ScenicExpress.com. This particular one is blended texture EXP886B. I've been really happy with this one. Okay, so rolling pin. This is the commander for, this is Frundsberg, who is my medieval German commander. And he is a gladiator figure. The horse and him are both gladiator. The other 2 figures are both Blue Moon, and the horses have cankles, which means, let's see if I can get my finger out of the way. You can see that the horse's leg is not tapered at all. It just goes straight down, almost like he's on a trunk. But it does make them very durable, and it's not that noticeable. But their lances are rolling pins, unfortunately. So, yeah, Scenic Effects. I think they're still in business. I'm not buying a lot of products from them because I don't go through a lot of their stuff. But anyhow, hopefully that helped. I like them, I don't have any of their Crusader range, unfortunately, because they actually look really good. Like, they make like a lot of like Muslim leaders and stuff, which look really, really cool figures. But I'm kind of not in the market for buying that stuff these days, so. Let's put these guys back where they belong. Let's see, the cannon goes here. The German commander goes... Where the hell does he go? He goes over here. And the French commander goes for mixing all kinds of figures in with each other. So I have no problem using minifigs with, I don't have no problem using minifigs with Old Glory and put the Old Glory horse on the minifigs figure and the minifigs guy on the Old Glory horse and mix and match. If you're trying to do paint Romans or something like that, yeah, you want to. I'm not flapping anymore. Okay, I don't know what that means. So I don't mind mixing and matching stuff. I think, obviously it depends on what you're trying to do. Let's flip this upside down and we're right side up. Okay, cool. Excellent. Yep. Wish this thing would hold in place. Unfortunately, all this camera stuff, you can't go to a store and get it anymore. I don't know that you ever could, but so you got to buy everything online, and it's just a roll of the dice. Your whole Tactica, a Ubid Egyptian army was Gladiator. Love those figures. Yeah, Gladiator has a couple different sculptors. I think they all paint up pretty good. Okay, so we had this. We were cleaning up the 20. Okay. And that little bit there. But this little bit, I'm not so sure that's flash. So let's leave that alone. This part is flash. Maybe. No, it's not. Okay, good move. We're going to hold this in place. And ever so carefully take that down. And then we're going to use the back side of this. And we won't drill out this barrel because it's already cattywampus. And I had nothing to do with that one. Dude, an S model gives you freaking little brass cannons. Like the pieces like turn brass. So you've got this barrel you have no flash on because it's brass. Amazing. I love S model. But they don't make a whole lot of things. They take a long time to get here. Sometimes their decals that are yellow are actually show up orange. And sometimes a really cool tank like a Crusader does not come the option with a hatch open. And if there's somebody that needs to have a hatch open, it's a vehicle that's operating in the desert. So it's not a freaking liney pressure cooker. And unfortunately, their A13 is not the version that went to the desert. Remind me to take a picture of the brass barrels for my 1700 Scharnhorst from Flyhawk. They are small. I had one of them in, I think mine was the Tamiya kit. I had that one and I had Rodney. I love me some Rodney. Okay, you have this barrel here that's just kind of floating in midair. Oh, I never took out piece A35. Shame on me. I wonder if I can get this guy built tonight. Maybe I can't. Well, you guys have done a really good job of entertaining me. Hopefully it has been mutual. That's all I ask. People come on here and let's just hang out together. You You guys kept me from eating the entire house. And because that's notorious, the girls will leave and I'll clean the whole pantry full of shit. Like old crackers, I don't give a crap. I'll eat anything. You know? Oh, this had a little notch down here and it lines up with that hole. I see. Well, it was almost disappearing. So this one doesn't have it either. So this fits like this. Okay, that's not too difficult to align. And then this machine gun apparently has two things to be did. But this is some fiddly shit, man. Roger B, welcome. Good to have you. Well, we've had a really successful evening. I mean, I haven't gotten this little guy done, but we've been productive. You know? We talked about some things that I don't normally talk about. That's good. Probably a good thing. Had this guy, the last convention we went to, we went at the, I think it was lunch. And he's like, I'll talk about anything except religion and politics. And you know what? Joke was on him because we talked about religion and politics and nobody got in an argument about anything. Because it's not what you talk about, it's how you talk about it. And, you know, the problem is talking with people that are on a crusade. I don't like people that are on a crusade, whatever that crusade is. You can talk about anything with anybody, as long as you're both being reasonable. I'm not here to convert anybody to anything. That's so strange that the magazine feeds from this side. When the coax is right there in the way. Oh well. Maybe another reason they lost the war. And then this. Oh, where the hell is 837 going? Why didn't I cut that piece out? Oh, it hangs out on the other side. Okay, cool. But we need 837 now. Pronto. I meant 838. Ooh, that is a flimsy piece. So is that gun. I'm going to have these people to play this. Somebody plays this game with me, they're going to have to sign a waiver. Okay. And this thing fits like this. And it must go on the front of this. It's not obvious where that is. So let's take a look. I did not make it to Cold Wars. I've never been to a Cold Wars. It's just at the wrong time of the year. I go to Historicon. I went in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 20, there wasn't one. 21, they moved it to November and put all kinds of restrictions on it. Both of them are killers for me. And I did go last year. And the new location in is excellent. That hotel is superb. But every year I've gone, there's been about one vendor less I'm interested in. So I certainly don't go to shop. I think that fits like that. Let's see if I have a top view of it. It fits beside that foot or something like that, so that would be the thing to do, because if it doesn't fit there, there's really nowhere else it could attach to. Oh, there's a little notch for it, so that is where it goes. All right, let's put another little drippage there. The Valley Forge venue is terrible. Somebody else was telling me about that. I went in 2010 and 2011, and it wasn't bad. And then they stopped holding it there because they were building that place in their casino, so I was told. The host in 2018 was pathetic. I'm probably never going to go to the host again. I've heard they fixed it. I don't believe it. That place needs to be like, they need to pull Chernobyl on it and start over. We went in 2010 and 2011, and compared to the host, at the time it was better because you just went downstairs if you wanted to go to the vendor hall, not like trek. I don't mind walking, okay, but time's important, And the last time they had it at the host, everything was under destruction. It was like Stalingrad without any Nazis and communists. And the entrance to the vendor hall was on the back side. So not only did you have to walk all the way the hell out there around, construction zones and all kinds of rubble and stuff that they had stacked everywhere on a limited time frame, but it was all the way on the back side, Many dealers not present. Attendance was down. The only saving grace was selling quite a bit at the flea market. The flea market last year at Historicon was pitiful. I think you paid $66 after taxes and shipping off of eBay for the Scharnhorst. Yeah. I think a lot of people, though, are finding that they could probably do without going to game conventions. I mean, they didn't have any for a couple of years in some places. Going to Historicon for me is about $700-800. And it's fine. It's money well spent, but it's a pain in the ass to not to ask for that much time off from work, but to do all the work in advance and then have to clean it up when you get back. So I'm not saying I'm not going to go again. I'm just not in a hurry to go again. Have you been to the Historicon location in downtown Lancaster? Because that's how it should be. But, I work too hard to stay in a shithole. I'm just saying that, there's no reason to be in a place where you're going to get some disease. Okay, I'm not sure how that fits in there yet, so we're going to wait on that. We have a seat here. Actually, 2 seats. This is piece A34, which, if I remember correctly, is quite flimsy. Oh, yes, it is. That is an extremely flimsy piece. Wow, what is the weakest link? This one, I think. Both of these are equal. Jeez. Ooh, boy. Oh, boy. That's advanced. Just being able to deal with that. All right, we've got the stool here. One guy gets a seat with no back, and the other one gets a back. All right. Yeah, these are definitely not for wargaming. They have a lot of things that are quite flimsy. All right, so these two sides are not the same. One of them actually has a square part here, and that's this one. And the other one is just a prod. That one's here, and that's the one that the stool sits on. Okay, and then this chair and we got to leave the turret out because we got to spray some in there and be able to get in the dark recesses. This coming when you first are downtown. I've been there twice. It's awesome. Okay, I'll check out that picture, Nordic. It'd be boring. I'd go by myself. It just, splitting the room with one person is pretty expensive. I could have gone this year, but it's probably the wise move not to go because I thought I was going to have problems with vacation time, not having enough vacation time. I've almost been at the place I've been at for 30 years, and I've been maxed out on vacation days for a decade now. So we don't get a whole lot of vacation time. And worse than that is, you got to leave everything done before you leave. That's just always how it's been. So, oh, this is crazy. The way this is attached. This attaches. Holy smokes. Okay, you see this? You see this drawing? Look at this drawing here. This seat looks like it attaches on this prong here, but it doesn't. It attaches on this one. So it should have this line drawn there, not to that point. Because if you read ahead, you'll see that it's attached at the bottom, not up here at the top. There's only one Tamiya. Oh, I know what you look like. I didn't know you until the last Historicon. You'd make a, you don't look like your brother at all. Yeah, I know Scott pretty well. He used to come to the cons of Florida. I can't imagine having a brother in the war games with. You guys argue a lot? Or okay, so that's going to attach like that underneath. Wow. Okay, that's going to be challenge. Yes, your brother and what's his name that used to come all the time that passed away? Your brother's buddy used to come all the time. They came probably to Florida. Man, at least 6 or 7 times. They might have come even more than that. Holy shit, this is flimsy. I was like, I'll put a crew in there. I ain't putting no crew in there. I'm not putting any extra weight on this thing. Bryant, that's right. Bryant McLaughlin. Yep. Yeah, he was a nice guy. Okay, this sits like this. What a soup sandwich. Wife wants to watch TV. Okay, man. We'll be on tomorrow night. St. Patrick's Day edition. Bring a beverage. If you want. I'm going to drink responsibly. I always do. I just like to talk about drinking more than actually drinking. Okay. This little guy sits like that. This is absurd. How finicky this is. Yeah, you're not getting a figure in there. Unless you just flat out don't build this stuff. Look at this shit. No wonder they lost the war. This is nothing to bring into a war zone. You fall apart. I bet you the one will put you off from ever trying model building. I'm not impressed. It'll work. I could make it work, but I was expecting A, and I kind of got B with these. So, whereas S model, I was expecting, the S models are incredible. At least these fit together okay, but man, some things you just can't make to scale, or they're not going to be durable. And this is one of those things. I'm actually going to go ahead and have the seat lean up against this piece, and that way I can weld it together and it'll give it some stability. Definitely not for the faint of heart. All right. But this is easier to put together than the rodent stuff. It is. How did my finger get caught in there? Okay. That attaches to this. I don't think we're going to attach that until later on, maybe. Now they're grenade screens. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I should still be able to paint this, even if this is attached up here at the top. This eye can get everywhere. My preference is to glue it and then paint around it. Let's see. How well is that going to attach? I think I'm going to attach it here at the bottom first, and then pry it open and put the gun in. So let's put that piece there. It's got to go there on the platform. Then we're going to take this and slide it in there. I couldn't have done this at 19 years old. There's no way. Now, you take a finicky kit like an old ESCI kit, an old Eschi kit that has poor fit, you can't make those work. You know, I've got a 3/4 ton Dodge truck that I couldn't finish. I messed with it about 6 months ago. It's just not buildable. It has all the wrong pieces. Like, it literally will not. Now, I probably will come back to it at some point and then just somehow just make the underneath suspension with rods or something like that. I'm going to just glue this thing shut. And this little bastard, let's grab it like by this. This little bastard. Look at this stuff underneath. Look at this shit. I mean, it's a cute little thing. Grenade screens. Well, I'm not going to glue them down right now. It's not going to get glued until afterwards. So the Airfix one, let me go grab the Airfix one. Let me go grab the Airfix one. Oh, man. Night and freaking day. Well, let me find it. It's here somewhere. Shouldn't be too difficult to find. It's seen better days. Nope. That's my Jesus. I better do a better job of putting this stuff in there. I'm going to have to do a lot of repairs. Another reason to finish these things up. Oh, so you were asking me the other day what British vehicles I have. I have a Firefly that's complete from Britannia. I have a Firefly that I acquired from the estate sale that's a Matchbox kit. I have an M4A4 unpainted that is from this thing's missing tires and everything, so it's just basically a Hulk I'm bringing you. That's missing an M4A4 by, I want to say, a company called Frontline. I could be wrong. It's not very good. And I have an Archer. I forgot I had the Archer. An Archer by BP Cast. It's very, very rough. Can you see that turn up close? Yes. You like the he, huh? Now let's look at the Airfix one. Oh, keep it down over there. And this is 176, so it's a little smaller. But, and this would be fine for war games. It just needs a grenade screen. You know, it needs a grenade screen. So, but this is actually a neat little thing. Now, let's compare something. Let's pull out the old 231 8 rad. Let's even pull out Lagerta. And it is significantly smaller. But I do have a crew member that I may be able to dangle on the outside. If you've seen pictures of like Tamiya kit, they've got a guy that's just kind of hanging out there. So I may put a guy in there and may make the grenade hatches open. Because it has kind of, it doesn't have an interior, but man, there's so much stuff in there. It works, you know? So, anywho, good stuff. It took a while to build it. I don't know if you guys were timing me, but I don't know how long it took. I'm surprised that the whole front of this is like devoid of detail. Like this whole front, there's nothing here. I didn't know that. Now, you want to know what's absurd? Keep your pants on. This is the most absurd thing I have seen probably in a long time. Let's look at these decals. Let's look at these decals. 3 hours. Well, you know, I had a good time. Let's look at these decals. Let's look at this absurdity. Let's zoom in on this. Okay, let's look at the decals it comes with. Let's turn them right side up. So you got some crosses. You got some standard license plates. Okay, cool. And then you've got, you can put, you know, the WH goes at the top here for Wehrmacht. Okay, that's nice to have that. And then you can make your own numbers. What? And then put them in here? Are you out of your freaking mind? I'm not doing that shit. That's stupid. You know? That's absurd. So what I like to do is, and I'll show you on one of the 231 armored cars, and I think it works for me, considering I'll show you on a truck too. And let's see, let's pull Lagerta out here again. The figure's not glued in, so you might be falling all over yourself, you little Nazi bastard. Okay, let me show you what I did on the front of the Opel Blitz truck, and let's do it right side up. I didn't do a very good job of it, but I just put some yin yang 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 on there, you know, because it's not important. You know, it's important that there's something white there, because it was on all the trucks, but what it actually says isn't important. If you look at the 231 armored car, look at the back. Oh, let me find it. Yeah, and you're looking at it really zoomed in. I'm just put chicken scratch on there, and that's what I'm planning on doing with the other ones. Is just put chicken scratching on there. And it works for me. Look at the different, same cannon, all right? Same cannon, both of these vehicles. Let me find the camera. 20 millimeter cannon, L55. Look at the machine gun difference. Got the MG34 here. It's nice and thick. Look at it here. Look how svelte it is. It's just, you know, asking to get broken. Well, we're going to put it on a stand. So, should work fine. Anyways, that was a lot of fun. But it takes some time, you know. 15 by magnification, individual numbers on a plate. Live streams are usually fun. You got a lot of fun chatting. You're inking those numbers in with a pen. Absolutely. Look at the rear. Making love to a tailpipe. Oh, man. Good stuff. I want to name one of these little armored cars Mimi. I need to save that for a KFZ13 and name it Mimi. So apparently, German armored cars were frequently named. If you look at German armored cars, they rarely have turret numbers on them. So, spindly, there you go. That's your word for the day. You didn't think you were going to wake up and use that word. That was a typical thing. So, apparently. I didn't know that. So, Anyhow, big difference. And these guys are totally usable. This is the old MPC kit, which ended up being the Airfix kit. It just doesn't have grenade screens. And you know what? I may fix this thing up and still use it. Because it's not that bad. You know? It actually has a little bit more detail on the front than this one does. So. But anyhow. Looks like I did all right with the tires, sinking them in, offsetting them inside a little bit. So otherwise it'd be, it'd be stanced a little bit too much. But sometimes you don't need to follow the instructions because the instructions are not correct. Oh, we have one more British thing I didn't know about. This is a POS. The casting is a POS. I don't exactly know which Bren carrier this is, but I do have a ton of British figures, and I have a ton of British figures that look really, really cool. But I think the Brits are going to go to Italy. I think that's just a more unique environment for it. Now, one of the things that I am going to do this weekend, and here's a 250. Like the one that's on the front of the package of those GHQ miniatures with the crooked spider flag on it. In gray. I do have a bin in my closet that has all my terrain, including my buildings. And while the girls are gone, which either means it won't be tomorrow, it'll either be Saturday evening or Sunday sometime, I'm going to pull them out. I've got a building that is complete and painted reasonable. It was still done 20 years ago, but it was painted reasonable. It's actually a 15 millimeter building. It's kind of like a 15 millimeter barn. And I think it scales really well for these figures. I've used it in several games. And I think it looks pretty good. I haven't seen it in a while, so maybe it doesn't look pretty good. But I thought I was pretty happy with it. But I've got a lot of unpainted, not a lot of unpainted stuff, but I have some unpainted stuff. And I'm going to knock that stuff out before I get any more buildings. But I do want to get buildings in the future. But my goal, we'll see. I don't know if I can get there because it's pretty bold, is to get all these vehicles painted in a year. So I got till October, and and I gained 2 vehicles I hadn't counted on. But once I get these 2 armored cars painted, that will be armored. That would be the 67th and the 68th one's done since October 1. But we got all kinds of stuff to do. We got all kinds of fun shit to do, stuff to talk about. This is a 1/87th scale. Obviously it's in the wrong scale, but I think it'll be fine for an objective. Knock that thing out, Anyhow. Good times. How long have we been on here? 3.5 hours? Yeah. I guess I spent about 3 hours building that thing, like you said. Next one will go a little faster. So, yeah, I've gotten a lot of vehicles done since October, but I've just been powering through. The first one was the hardest one, and realized, am I going to be happy with how it turns out or not? Once I found out I was happy with it, well, then all you got to do is just replicate it in style. Let's see if this... Okay, this stuff worked a little bit better. He's a little flatter. It's actually a nice figure. Oh, here we go. Let's see which way. It's actually a nice figure. And we'll need these for a test game because when the tank gets knocked out, if somebody survives, you got to put them on the board there. But anyhow, thanks for stopping by, folks. As always, we'll be on tomorrow about 8 p.m. Am I done with DBA or just taking an extended break? I am done with DBA. I will probably... So my plan with DBA armies is we're going to play a big Lion Rampant game at the next convention and see if I can implement that. But the problem with DBA is, see, in a nutshell, I I spend way too much time painting figures to play a game that's that abstract. And it's just not very satisfying to play with the amount of detail that I'm painting on the figures. And I don't want to just say, well, I'm just going to dip them then. The whole point is, is to paint them as good as I can. So, and I promoted the hell out of DBA the last 2 years, and it just doesn't catch on. And it used to be like, okay, well, I got to keep this going because I don't want to spend tens of thousands of hours painting these armies and not using them again. And now it's like, I would rather, it's keeping me from doing other periods. And I'm okay not, if somebody said you're not allowed to play with your 15 millimeter armies anymore, I'd be like, okay. It doesn't bother me anymore, But there's no rule set out there that really jumps out at me. I'm not going to play, Triumph is no better than DBA, and nobody really wants to play that one. Art de la Guerra is more troops, and they ripped off Phil's work and charged for it, and I don't feel good about it, and it's more troops. And it still has the whole, I don't want to play another game that has the conforming where you have to conform like this. Why can't you fight like this? Why can't you fight like this? I'm not doing it to be gamey. I'm just doing it because that's what the guys would do. There'd be a unit of guys, and they would say, okay, go and contact them. Not like, okay, hold on a second. If it works that way, but it's a very abstract interpretation, and I'm not an abstract thinking person. I don't think abstract. I don't do well at thinking abstract. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing DBA. I still think it's a good game. I've just done 18 years of it, and I'm done. I'm done doing it. And there's a couple of other reasons, but none of it necessarily have to do with the people that I play with on a weekly basis. It really has nothing to do with that. So they can continue playing DBA 3.0. I'm not, but I stepped away this year, and we went from having 7 games at a con to 2. So, I don't want it to die, but that's not what my intention is. And I thought, well, maybe I'll come up with my own rules, not for sale, just for free. But I don't want to run them at a con and take it away from other people do it. So, but anyhow, yeah, I'm done with abstract games. I'm done with abstract games. I want games that have the detail, and they don't have to be complicated. They just have to have rules for everything. And this is, the scale of this skirmish is what you see is what you get. So you got grenades that are going, a foot and a half away from each other, because that's how big the figures are, and that's how far they could potentially throw, and that's what I want to simulate. If I don't want to play operational type stuff, I've done that before. I could do it in a game. So, but anyhow, like to be able to form square and model troops in attack column, march column, line of battle, and paint the individual regiments. There you go. So, all right, folks. Well, thanks for stopping by, Eric. Good of you to come by. Maybe we'll see you tomorrow. Should be on by 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And bring your whiskey. There's something to sip on. I'm still going to have my Coke. Okay, folks. Have